All right, there was a big update to the game engine today. So today I will be going through, following along with these new instructions for the new configuration. Need to change my mods to match. We'll be going over the new documentation to adding items to the game. Going to work with this one here, which is just a chest, kind of like you would call it like a cheat item for testing out the mod. It's a smaller mod. Should go faster than working on all the structures. Setting up my second monitor so I can view everything. All right, that should be good. So we're going to be working with probably these first, the game data ones. So it would be blueprint class, search for SG mod data EX. Select. Let's see what this new one looks like. Okay. These default settings here are the ones I'm going to need to change. X item table, X item static data, override structure, minimap, POE style table. Right, first is override interactive images, UI overrides. More features for us to be able to play after additional components for characters. Cool. It does allow for more options. Get into the additional components section, SG mod info class. You can configure a blueprint. This is the document that I'm looking at here on my second monitor. All right, doesn't have a bunch of explanation as far as specifically going step by step, replacing the ones you're already using, like this one right here, the mod data execution, the SG mod data EX. It just says no longer need to use game data. But originally you had two game data things to mess with. This one, standard SG game data, and then SG game data create structure. So I'm going to assume at this point that this is the one that it replaces, the base SG game data for the data tables. That matches with the terminology on this new blueprint. So let's go in and see where the data tables have changed. Then I'll look at these other blueprints that we can look at before we start making changes to my mod. Looking for SG mod actor. Active checks replications. These configured default. Always spawn. Generic ID. Cooking. Melody settings. The full editor. Default scene root. Components. Default scene root. These are the class defaults. I'm going to open this up to make sure. Yeah, class defaults. Okay. Says the blueprint will create an actor on the server after the mod is successfully loaded. You can use this actor to execute server-side logic or store data for easy access in UI or other places. And we now have actor component, which is SG play actor. SG play. We have player state, player start, player game manager. Okay, so it's not in the all class list as SG Play, but documentation labels this as an SG Play actor, additional components. An actor component is the reusable component that can be added to an actor. Let me look at other terms to see if I can find it in the list. There's too many. The word additional. Nope, doesn't exist. Component, C-O-M-P-O-N, component. There's a general actor component right here. Equity alliances. Not sure if this is it. Has same description, so I'm assuming this is the one. Actor component. Okay, and there's more. You would go. HD plate actor additional components. That's what I'm supposed to see in this default, but I don't see it. References a new class, SG mod. Oh, misspelled it. Okay, cancel. To this one. Mod override structure minimat mod item. Here it is. SG play actor additional components. So if we create components for the player, we add them in that position. Okay, class target gameplay actor. You would set the target gameplay actor to the desired structure blueprint. And under additional component is choose the additional component to attach. So it'll attach this structure component to the structure BP of the weapon bench here. and set the component rule for network mode such as client only, server only, or server replicated. Normally, you just need to sync the server and you're all set. Okay. Oops. This is what I was looking at here. After if you put one, this is what I was reading about here. Server rule. Server only, client only, server only. Okay. It's going through some blueprint coding. Oh, it's difficult to read, I'm sure. It's small print. So you have self, reference the owner of self. Since this component is attached to the weapon bench, the object returned by get owner is the weapon bench. So get owner, task two is an example of a mod we added a component to. It says here. Next, cast to SGStructure function, which is the parent class of all crafting stations. Use get component by class on the casted object to retrieve its inventory component. And to add the blueprint of a weapon item that can be crafted at the weapon bench to the default craft items property of the backpack component, you can use the two blueprint nodes add default craft items and add craft item by class. If you just use craft by class, it says it's enough to render it at the um, specific workbench. To craft the weapon. All right. It's not going to pertain to the mod that I'm working with. Okay, going back to this one again. Finally, the notes were a little bit out of order, I guess. It says adding a component to a character type. You can use the blueprint event to query or modify player or NPC character properties. For example, adding components to a BP character and granting it a buff upon logging into a game. Okay. Allows you to basically you can modify the starting status of your of the character in the game without actually affecting the official programming of the character. You're just changing it on load. S character additional components on this one. here. Again, with the surfer replicated component tag, additional component, and class target. Same setup as the after additional component. And we have the little blueprint study here on how to set up the actual graph, event graph in the blueprint. Retrieve the owner self. Of course, we retrieve the owner of self. This component is attached to BP character by object returned to the owner. I'm curious to look at okay, the blueprints don't actually start with anything in its graph. And when I click off of it, it changes what is available. Interesting. Okay, let me close it. Open it again. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of items, so let's go event graph. Open it. Okay, I guess it's just something wonky in the engine because it's not doing it. This time it's showing the items it wasn't before. Okay. But self, creating these functions myself, I mean, that's fine for me, but I'm just someone beginning to work with Unreal Engine is going to have some difficulty understanding some of this stuff. When it tells me attached to BP character, the object, I understand that, but you have to drag and drop the self or create a self and then tag it to BP object character. It's not already there for you. Cast to BP character, okay, obtaining the buff component of the object after casting, which is use add buff to add buff. Okay, and then target. Now, if you want to add a buff during the event begin play of a character blueprint, you may need to add a delay because the buff component of the player character may not have been loaded yet, causing the application of the buff to fail. Okay, it's not showing it, but it's saying put a delay. Basically, purpose is that you want to have a delay. Give the game defaults to load, and once the game defaults load your changes afterwards, which merges and then supersedes, kind of like stacking mods, hierarchical, which mod is priority, that kind of thing. Stack quantity of an item. Retrieve the player character's backpack component and bind on Seth when triggering blah blah blah. Okay, this is again on begin play or after gameplay before you actually gain possession of your character is when these events would occur. Okay, the mod data, which is this one again. Here are the mod data. Provides two events on functional entry points, event pre-int and event preload. Both can be used with preload being executed earlier during the game loading phase and pre-int during the initialization phase. In particular use, there is not much difference between them. Okay, the merge table function requires two configuration parameters, office table, which represents the official data table, and mod table, which represents the additional table in your mod. This function merges mod table into office table in some data tables and rely on row names. I'm going to quickly ask something. I'm just coming up with a thought. I'm glad they've all explained this, but I'm wondering, do I really need to create these, the blueprint coding, or can I just edit the existing blueprints? Because this is explaining how to. Explaining how to, or is it just explaining how it works? My question. And my question, the blueprint code description and the new update guide, are those meant to explain the changes, or is it meant we need to add the code? Save me a whole lot of time if I don't have to do this for each mod or each item. Merge table function provides a greater merge table function returns a Boolean value. This is an example. This is like a UI, changing a UI. You can change the link of this item. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to search for it. Let's see. Search. MOD. Nope. And variable function. Where was I supposed to be looking for this again? The event graph creates a new blueprint node. Search for mod in the event graph. Okay. Event graph. Right. So these bunch of new items: get all player character, feed game, get mod info, get owner, merge object prototype. Okay. Further thinking that if we have this new stuff, then it's expected that we actually do the blueprint code. Ooh, I might be getting an answer to my question. Okay. I'm being told it's just explaining how it works. We don't actually have to do the code. Okay, get all player character, this option here. You can use this to retrieve all currently online player characters. Note that self. Okay, get game data. It's explaining ones. You can retrieve the current game data. Okay, use mod objective, query prop, mod objective, set prop query, get mod info, retrieve SG mod actor objects based on tags, attached components, and SG mod info class configuration. So get owner stream ID. Retrieve the player's Steam ID, the players that are playing. Yep, you can do the assets. You can export the assets now. So once I get my mods transferred over, I'll be creating some of my own things, or at least editing the existing. All right. So that's actually all there is for the new information. I mean, it's not a lot of information as far as step by step on how to use the new blueprints, but it is a description on what's changed. Let's see where to start. There's the item BP I created. Item testing. So it infers step by step where it infers on the SG mod data. Here, X item, X item table. Let me go to miscellaneous data table and search for X item. No. See here, it's all the data classes. I mean, it could just be referring to you name the table X item. And follow the previous instructions to add item to it. Pull up my notes on that and reference the specific names. Item blueprint, none of that's changed. Look on Discord is what I'm looking at the moment because question someone asked before was with this new setup that we're using, instead of using the game data, which is here, which has everything possible, what's missing, one of the things that are missing is for recipes, your craft groups, craft per group table, you see. This new item that we're supposed to be using does not list that. Typing with thumb, sorry. Now, this information I'm researching, trying to find. Need to know these things. For this particular item, I don't, but anything I do in this mod, um, either way, it directly affects all the items listed that are supposed to show up in that chest, my inventory component. Which is here, the 31 items that pop up in that chest when it's spawned. Those are craftable items. Excuse me. Let me open up this one and see if there's. I want to see what's in the if there's any additional functions added, or is it just default? Here, full editor. No, it's hard coded information. Okay. I could probably do the quick editing of this one. I'm not adding components. I'm going to delete that one. Okay, and this one, let me look at it. I'm not going to be using this one. No. Okay, this one is the one that's going to be replaced, which is weird because these two here, HTML data, this one, the construction data, structure testing, adds this to the game structure menu. So I'm guessing we still do it that way. Close these, open them again. Uh, open it again. Oh, okay. It's me and my all the stuff I do know how to do. There's still stuff in the UI I don't know. Like how do I close all this additional stuff if all I want is the details open? Because you don't need that, and I don't need this. Don't need this. But then it does like this, so. And right, so window, my blueprint and debug to debug. Okay, we're back to the standard. That's the parent class. Is there a parent class for this one? There's the parent class. Not getting a response about what to do with the crafting recipes. Um, if that's the case, then if my mods are working for now, I don't see a reason to change anything. I don't feel I don't see a reason to use any of this new changes as of yet, which is a little disappointing. Here's DT mod static data and DT item vec. This is my item blueprint. Item static data, which I think is this one. The one that's default created. Let's see what happens when I do this. Do you run the script that's built in? I think we might be crashing. Oh, there we go. So scripted actions, change item consume type, mod apply item to data table, get item asset data. There's new scripts. Nope. Okay. DT item, item blueprint, and wood structure chest, and the item blueprint. I'm going to I don't want to delete these. You can't revert back to them. Yeah, this is the one that's automatically generated by that script here. Why is it working so sluggishly? Okay, I'm going to try this again. And this time I'm going to wait a minute and see if it populates anything. Nope. All right, I'm going to have to close and, oh no, it's just taking a long time. Either way, I'm going to have to, I should close and reboot the engine because this is just, not working all that well. Task manager. Says it's working and it's not really hogging. It's just, all right, weird. Um, right. So I'm, I mean, there's no support in learning how to do any of this. You kind of just have to figure out how it works on your own, which is I can deal with that. I can deal with that. But of course, it's better to have someone who knows let you figure it out. And if you feel you can't, have someone ask. And the thing is, I don't have anyone to ask at that point. So once I get to a situation where I can't figure it out, it's like, okay, have a break, come back, do it again, and it could be a couple days before I actually get it to work right, instead of it being just a few hours. Let me close and revert everything. Oh, I didn't change any of this stuff. That's different. Loading it back up. I'm gonna further troubleshoot that scripting option to see what it's doing. See if I can see what it's doing. on an empty mod, I'm going to try to generate that data table with that script option and see if see if that works before I go any further. It's just a kind of like a not a bug search, but a bug hunting or resolving bugs. It's more or less how does this work? Let's start pressing buttons and then see what the results are. Here we are. You heard me typing. Yeah, I'm still going to try to ask questions even though I may not get a response. Um, there is someone we can tag questions to, but I don't always get a response. I don't know about language barrier or anything, but he's available and he's very nice when he responds. He just doesn't get to all questions. Item DT item table. Okay, I'm going to look for exactly configure game data. Okay, the item table, that's just the item table. Okay, I'm assuming for item DT item. Questions are, am I using the same class? Because when I look for data table, the new name is EX item table. There is no EX for the table. Item data. I'm assuming because for the item table you use item row base. Item row base. Okay, question is, I'm assuming that actually naming it really doesn't matter. So item row base is the purpose of it, and tagging it into here. X item table and the X item static table. See, that's the one that's create here with that script. Okay, let's see if this is going to happen. Mode. Why? Description. Why? Before I didn't have to put a preview, but it's going to make me put a preview image. It's just keeping you requirements, I suppose, for Steam, like you are going to load. Why? Why that? I'm looking here. Copy. Okay, and sgmod data exe, sgmod game data. Um, Generally, you would be creating this, and this tells, when the mod's loaded, it tells the engine what to do with everything. Let me go here with the new item, and right, that's what I wanted. I wanted to see no referenced. And reference viewer. Yep, all those items. That's the one that's created with that script. Let me save it and see if that makes a difference. Save all. Okay, good. The only thing listed are the items that are in the chest. Well, let's see what these scripts do. Okay. I do that, but the item's not there. That's really strange. Don't know what that does. Go back, get item asset data. Cancel. Okay. Delete. Delete. Scripted actions. Apply mod. Edit table. Okay. At when. I'm gonna peruse through this information again. Um, what do I do with the item static data? Okay, because it's empty. Why is it not creating a populated data table? Oh, that's because that's not the item blueprint. All right, stop. Stupid me. Okay, I figured it out. So that stays. All right. Next on the agenda is really to understand what do we do with the recipes now, because there's no place to put them. We're waiting for this to do its deletion and unloading. Okay. So in here, this is manually created by the modder, and it gets put into this slot. And the static data table gets created by mod apply item to table, and that would go into here. Like this option, I'm really anxious to be able to mess with UI elements. Override structure, minimap, POI style table, interesting. Generic horse structure and override. Interactive images. But there is no place to put it here. Previous modding setup. Same two items, the item table here and the data static goes there. But you have a place to do crafting, merging your crafting group. Um, since I can't do that, I'm really beginning to think there's absolutely no reason at all to change anything in my mods. Because I can't use the new SG mod data because there's no options to enter crafting. I'm going to write a little note in Discord. Probably won't get a response, but just to let them know the way I'm thinking this is working. So as far as I know, or as far as I understand, there is no reason. I type really slow. Making sure I'm wording with these things. Okay. Well, I guess that's it. I'm done for now with this little streaming section. Um, Basically, what I've learned is, hey, we can mod the UI elements now. We can add actually uh, perks or buffs to mod the player character at the start of the game. Those are two major things that were good. There's a mechanism now in the dev kit to allow you to add items to official workbenches, or more or less the original workbenches. You don't have to create your own workbenches, whereas before that's the way you had to. If you wanted the item created in game at a workbench and not in your inventory, you had to create your own workbench, and now you can add it to the official game workbench. I think what I'm going to end up working on next is I'm going to go over my mods and my notes from yesterday to see what I can update or change. Um, Any results now that I can mod the UI elements, that'll be the new thing I'll work with, or more or less the first new thing that I'll work with. All right. I'll be on later whenever I'm able.